Great day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Voices of a Black Man. My name is CK James, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Ulrick Edmonds. Now, the Voices of a Black Man platform is simply this: the platform for Black men to be seen and heard, to tell their story through their lens. In today's society, they're usually put into two stereotypical boxes. The first one, silent, which means absent, or angry, which equals aggressive. The Voices of a Black Man platform is a platform to dispel those myths, to say that all Black men are not alike. They cannot be stereotyped into one or two boxes. As a matter of fact, they're human men who happen to be Black with different backgrounds, experiences, dreams, and aspirations. So today we're talking to Ulrick Edmonds. Are you there, Ulrick?
I am. I am here. I am here. Good to see you, Sherelle.
Good to see you as well. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Doing great. My wife called the audible on me, but we are rolling and we are good to go. Everybody's
All
happy in
right.
the household.
Sounds good. Now, I want to remind our viewers today that this is a listening session. On purpose, comments are off, which means that you're only here to see and hear as Ulrick tells his story. Now, later on, you can go to our Facebook page and comment if you like, as well as to the website, which is www.voicesofablackman.com, to see other speakers, hear their stories, as well as to replay Ulrick's story. So, all right, Ulrick, I'm sorry. I forgot to say that in the beginning, and I wanted to make sure we kind of got that going. I see a little hair standing up here, so I'm going to just fix that real quick so it doesn't bother me the whole time. It's not about anybody else, it's about me right now.
That's
All right,
awesome.
this is your platform today. I'm just going to jump right in, and I want to ask you what was important for you to be on today, to be a part of the Voices of a Black Man speaker series?
Well, first, like I've said several times, I'm humbled by the opportunity just to share my story. And I think you touched on it in a very, very unique way. Every person, every Black man has a story, and all of those stories are different. And in our world, in our society, that's what makes who we are and what we are and where we live so great, because everybody has a different story. You just have to open up your eyes to be able to hear them, be in proximity with them, and get to know them. And I think that's the essence of why I wanted to be on and share my story.
Mm-hmm. Well, we definitely thank you for being here today, and let's just dive right into your story. So tell us about the young Ulrick. Where are you from? How'd you grow up?
Wow. So growing up for me was great. I lived in and grew up in Blackstone, Virginia. Population right now is about 3,300 people. So a very, very small town. But I grew up in a home with my mother, Arlene Edmonds, my father, Louis Edmonds, my older sister, and my older brother. And a couple things stood out for us growing up is that, hey, my parents really did a great job of allowing our life to be led by the Word of God. I think that was one of the most critical points in me growing up. The second thing, which it took me a long time to understand and to kind of figure it out, was they wanted each and every one of their children to have a better life than they did. And my father drove 18-wheelers forever, right? My mother worked at a pharmaceutical plant. And I thought my dad was the best thing ever in this world. So I was like, hey, Dad, I want to be just like you. And he said, no, son, I want you to be better than me. So, growing up, that's kind of the mentality, right? Our lives were rooted in the Word of God, and our parents wanted to position us to make sure that we had a better life than they did.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what type of hobbies were you into? What kind of things were you getting into as a youngster?
So my sister and brother are older than me. So my sister is 11 years older than me, and my brother is 10 years older than me. So I grew up basically as a only child. right? So what did I have to lean on? I had sports. I played basketball, football, baseball, anything that I could do related to a sport, I did. So those were my hobbies, along with, hey, I'm not saying it was a hobby back then, but every Sunday morning, every Bible study, every Bible school, my mom made sure that I was there. So that kind of became a hobby over time.
Wow. Wow. So let me ask you this question. When was the first time you realized that you were not just a young man, but a Black man? And what did that mean to you?
Well, I think through sports, sports teaches you a lot of different lessons. And even going back before then, where I live in Blackstone, Virginia, I think this platform was really good for me because it made me go back to do some kind of history and some research. So at one point in time in the late 1800s, the town that I grew up in, Blackstone, Virginia, was called Blacks and Whites, Virginia at one time. So it was a point in time where when I grew up, I lived in an area of town that was called the Black folk section. And 100 yards away started the white folk section. And as a young guy, a young man at, between 8 and 10 years old, it's like, what does this really mean? Right? People that look like me live here, and people that are white, they live up the street. And it's referred to as a white folks section. So between the age of 8 and 10, I kind of really started to think about, wow, this is a little bit different. What am I supposed to do with this? And I think sports kind of sheltered me from diving deeper into that, because in sports, right, you play with Black people, white people, short people, tall people, fast people, slow people, and everybody's has one common goal, and that's to win. So we put aside all our differences to make sure that we're working toward the same common goal as to win. So I think that kind of sheltered me of really having an open lens of to what really was out there. And hey, I don't regret it, right? But I wish I had a little more exposure to some of the things that I think I may have kind of overlooked because of that.
So you talk about things you may have overlooked. What would be some of those things, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so not until maybe 5-6 years ago, right? I started thinking about these things for some reason. So I am a avid sportsman, right? I love baseball. It's my first love. Most people don't know that about me, but I played baseball. I was really good in it. In the ninth grade, I made the team. I was the only Black on the team. I wondered, hey, why am I not playing? And my coach says to me, hey, you're good at football. Let them have this. Yeah. So, that kind of like, what was that? What can they have that I can't?
Wow. Wow. When you think about that today, because I'm sure then you were kind of like, okay, not really, you're sports, right?
Right.
You're having your sports, even if you're wanting to play baseball because it's your first love, you're like, okay, well, I've got all these other things. Looking back on that now, what feelings does that bring up?
Just sadness.
Mm-hmm, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have been differently in your career or in your path if you were able to play more baseball?
No, I think I am where God intended me to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sad for myself. I'm sad for the people that didn't have the support that I did to overcome that. Because there are a lot of Black African American kids that would have said, you know what, screw it, I'm not doing anything, right? But I had the support of my mother, my father, people that I grew up around that were able to say, hey, it's all right. Like, you made a decision to do this. It didn't work out. What's next?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, the other thing that I remember was I have a cousin, great football player. Always wanted to be like him. I get kind of emotional. Um, and I get emotional, not for me, but for others that don't have that support. So I was told in high school as well, met with my guidance counselor, hey, I want to go to college and play college football. I want to go to UNC. I want to go to Virginia Tech. How can I do that? And she says, well, you're not in the right classes to do that. And I said, well, what classes am I in? Well, I'm in basic classes, which won't allow you to go to school. And I said, well, why am I in these classes? And she says, I thought you wanted to be with the rest of your friends. My Black friends. And she didn't think that we wanted to go to college. So how many other, right, people were placed in that same position and didn't have support to get out and weren't blessed enough to have role models?
Yeah. That's huge. I mean, that's really huge. Yeah, and it goes back to kind of stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
That all of you were lumped into this one box.
Yeah. And this was in ninth grade, 10th grade. It's, luckily, right, prayerfully and just being blessed through our elementary school, there were tons of teachers. I thought about it this morning when I was on my walk. There were tons of teachers that actually went to my church. So they were Black, right? And they made sure that, hey, I was through elementary school, like I was in those classes. I was learning that information, right? But how many, it saddens my heart, how many people, how many Black males don't have that support, right? I think it takes a tribe to raise anybody, right? I really think it takes a tribe to raise a Black man. Because there's so many different things out there. And if you don't have the support and the structure to enable yourself to be connected with these influential people, to make sure that you're going in the right direction, that you have the support, that you are able to do the things that you want to do, or even that you're able to do the things that you don't even know you want to do, but to lead you and guide you down that path, I think it's just critical. So there's so many men, so many Black men that didn't have that. They didn't have that opportunity to have a cousin that was a star, right? A sister who went to college, a mom and dad that was there and wanted me to be the best, right? So even though someone may get past all of that stuff, right? When they get to school, they still may be put in a box to say, hey, due to your educational learning, what you've learned, when you graduate, you can only do this. And they had the potential to do so much more. Right? So that's what saddens my heart. Not because it happened to me, because, man, God has blessed me with more than I ever could imagine. But there's so many people that I grew up with that, and now I look back, they were put in that box and they never got out of that box. And they're still in the box to this day.
Yeah. They didn't know to go and have the conversation, or to have someone have the conversation for them, or someone looking after their interests, to say, well, if I'm not on the right course, what course do I need to be on to move forward in what I want to do? The information wasn't and still today, a lot of times, is not as forthcoming.
And we don't know
as it could be.
I'm sorry, but we don't know as young men, we don't know what we should do or what we want to do, right? That behavior is learned. So the more positive people we can put around ourselves, the better off we'll be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your tribe and your support system growing up, and then as an adult. Just as you look back over your life, from being raised as a young man in Blackstone, Virginia, till today and where you are. Looks like we lost him for a second, so he should probably be back. As I say to everyone, this is live. This is not pre-recorded. This is live, so we're subject to technology. Love it, hate it. It happens. Life happens. And hopefully we can get him back on the line here if you guys are willing to just hold on a minute. I think that we had a really good start, to this, to just think about one of the things for our platform, the Voices of a Black Man, is to listen first, but secondly, then to look in the mirror. Look at yourself. Are there any biases there that you maybe have not even thought about? But as you listen to the conversations, as you hear the different stories, some things rise up for you. That's what this is all about, because we all have biases. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're born. Because of our experiences, our backgrounds, it could be that we just were never introduced to certain things. So we build a bias that we don't even know that we have towards certain things. So I ask that as you continue to listen and as you hold on this line, that you search yourself out as well. Search through yourself. What can you do, number one, for yourself to uncheck some of those biases? And then number two, from there, to be able to reach out and help others in your family, your community, and the world. What does that look like? What does that really look like? I'm going to see if I can get him back on the line here. See if we can get him back on the line. There are some other stories that are out there this particular Saturday. So what we do on Saturdays is we have a roundtable discussion from all the speakers that can come back. So 2 to 5 speakers come back on Saturday, and we do a roundtable discussion. If you go to the website, voicesofablackman.com, you can see some of the other speakers. You click on their infographic. You can see, you can hear their stories as well. The Saturdays, we've had 3 Saturdays so far. Those will be uploaded sometime today. So if you look at later on today or tomorrow ago, this past Saturday was amazing. Each Saturday seems to get better and better, better and better. See, I got my team trying to help here, get some things going. See where he is. That, I don't know about you guys, but that was powerful. Here he is. He's back. All right. We got him back.
Hey, sorry about that.
Hey, we're live. And that's what I was telling everyone who was viewing. I said, we're live. So we're subject to whatever technology brings to us. That just the start was so powerful. I think the internet needed a pause just to soak all of that in.
Yeah, we're at the beach, so the wind must have been blowing so hard that it kind of took everything away. So I apologize. Hopefully it won't happen.
No apologies needed. Absolutely no apologies needed. So now, one of the things that I was asking, kind of when the internet decided to do whatever it decided to do, is, and I'm jealous you're at the beach. Let me just say that. I'm jealous right now that you're at the beach. I've been trying to get there. I'm going to get there. But let's talk about, you talk so much about support systems and having a tribe. And I think that that's very important. From you growing up in Blackstone, Virginia to now, as you look back over your life, talk to us a little bit about how your support system and tribe has been influential in just your development and you growing and being the man that you are today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with my mother and father, right? And my sister and my brother. They're just that support that is always there. And now, even more than them, my wife, Lindsay Edmonds, I mean, she is amazing. And her support through my life and the things that we are doing and want to do for our children as a family is just unbelievable. My wife is white, right? And that's something that, a lot of people say, well, you don't see color, you don't see this. Like, hey, we believe in, God says, hey, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Yeah. And the love that we have for each other, and the support that she provides for me, for our children, It's just off the charts. I mean, I could go on and on about the people that are in my tribe as far as support. You know, you talk about my best friends, Justin Ruffin, Rob Carson. There's so many people that pour into me. My pastor, Ryan Brooks, amazing guy. So even at work, I'm affiliated with some phenomenal people. You know, I'm just taking Rena Bland, Delyn Alexander. I mean, it's just people that see, and I think this, if you have a great heart, like people know your heart, and they want to see you be successful, right? And a deacon at my church, he always told me this. He said, if you smile, you'll make somebody else smile. They'll make somebody else smile, and there'll be miles and miles of smiles, and our world will be a better place. And that's kind of, Diggin Claiborne, that's kind of how I live life. Like, hey, someone may not like me for who I am or for what I do or for who I associate with, but that's not for me to judge, right? My job is to, as we get into it, is to serve people, right? And to be good to people, and to make sure when they have an encounter with me that they say, wow, what an amazing person who cares not only for himself, but cares more for others than he does himself.
When did you kind of adopt that philosophy for your life?
I think it's something that just constantly builds, right? You know, I had an aha moment, you know, in February of 2019. It was February the 12th. I laid in bed, and the prior year I coached college football for 16 years. We got fired, and I was like, God, what am I supposed to do? Like, what do you want me to do? And I came to the conclusion that, hey, serve people. So, okay, let's break that down. Like, who am I serving, right? I'm serving God, right? I'm serving my family. And then I'm serving my friends and other people that I encounter, however I can. I'm a lifelong coach. I coached college football for 16 years. Now I coach people to have a better handle their finances, to put themselves in a better position than they are today, 15, 20 years down the road, right? I'm a coach. That's what I am. I educate people, and I move them from education to action.
Now, I want to go back and come back to the coach thing. You graduated high school in Blackstone, Virginia. Did I lose you again?
You did, but I'm here.
Okay. You graduated high school, in Blackstone, Virginia.
Yep, Nottoway County, Virginia. Yep, born and raised.
Okay. And then you went where from there?
So I went to James Madison University.
So you did go to college?
Yeah, I went to James Madison University and played football there for 4 years. I was on scholarship. Was an all-conference player. After I graduated, really didn't know what I wanted to do, right? And so another influential person, Kurt Newsom, he said, hey, why don't you coach? I said, all right, I'm 21 years old. Why not? Let's coach. I get to stay at James Madison a little while longer and have some more fun partying, and now I just coach. Yeah, let's do it. So that year was absolutely horrible. Like, we were 2-9, and I was like, whoa, some guys are getting fired left and right. I need a backup plan. So another guy, right, saw me walking through the parking lot at James Madison University, and he says, hey, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. He said, hey, look into this program. So I looked into a program. His name was Zeb Davenport. I ended up going to graduate school, right, that year, and got my master's degree in higher education administration. So if you think back to the person that was told, hey, you're in these classes to, you know, just make it by, to the person that's in a position and did graduate with his master's degree, it's like, wow, right? Who would have ever thought, right? Who would have ever known? And just like I say, I think back to that, and it makes me want to just make sure, hey, as I'm climbing this mountain, this journey that I'm on with my family, I want to make sure to pull people along the way, right? Like, I may not have the credentials to pull them along, but I do have the strength, and I do have the grit, and I do have the perseverance to say, hey, you don't belong back there. You belong up here. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, it's spoken like a coach. I spoken like a coach, right? Because that's what a coach does. Lets you know the ability and power that you have that you don't even see in yourself. But the
Exactly.
coach kind of sees it before you can see it in yourself. So, what did coaching mean to you? Or even now, because I think now, even no matter what you're doing, you're still coaching in some way, right?
Right.
What does coaching mean to you?
Well, now, and not in a million years, right? Like I had my plan all mapped out. I was going to coach. I was going to be an offensive coordinator. I was going to be a head coach. Planned it out. God said, no, no, no. Got something better for you. And I told my wife, I said, it's amazing. I get to impact so many more people now than I ever did as a coach. As a coach, I had maybe 8 to 10 guys a year, right? Now, I mean, I try to speak to 8 to 10 people a day, right? To just kind of spread, hey, what I'm doing. And I think, hey, to me now, like coaching means it's very, very simple. And you said it, it's allowing someone to see something that they can't even imagine by the work that I do to enable them to see it, not only 20 years down the road, but see the piece that they can do today to position themselves to get to not 20 years down the road, but hey, the next day and the next day and then the next week and then the next month and then the next year. And as that all accumulates and goes and goes and builds, you look up 5 years later and they're like, wow, that's pretty amazing. So to me, that's what coaching is, right? That's what I did before I got into financial planning and advising. That's what it is now. It's just a different platform, right? Instead of coaching people to rip somebody's head off and tackle them and throw a ball and catch a ball, now I'm helping people with retirement plans, right? Which probably is more stressful than going to tackle somebody. So I think those things have a great correlation. But I just think that the main concept is that, hey, I've been put on this earth to serve people, to serve them by coaching them by any means necessary, and in any platform and in any kind of venue that God is blessed and He will bless to put me in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I want to delve a little bit more into how you deal with injustice and obstacles in your life.
The first thing I do is pray. Just think about, I guess, an analogy, right? I think about this analogy, and this is not my analogy. I heard this on a podcast, and I was like, wow, that is right. That is right on. So if you think about a 50-year-old man that comes in and says, hey, Ulrick, I want you to help me with my retirement. I have not done one thing at all, right? Not one thing. So I'm going to say, hey, all right, this is what we need to do. We have to do X, Y, and Z, right? You take that same situation and someone that's 25 walks into my door and say, hey, I want to start a retirement plan. So that 50-year-old has 15 years to get to where he wants to get to. And that 20-year-old has 25 years. Which scenario would you choose, right? Every one of us would choose a scenario with 25 years to get somewhere. It's the same thing in our world, right? If you go back 400 years, there was slavery. Slavery has been over for 155 years, right? So it's a gap in there where everything was not equal. So my biggest and most important factor in dealing with social unrest, right? Social injustices is to meet people where they are, right? Because everybody has grown up different. Everybody has learned specific things. Everybody has different experiences. But the one thing we can do is we can be in proximity with that person if we truly care about them and we truly want to get to know them. And therefore, not only can that person be better, but it will make me, if I'm the person that's having that conversation, it'll make me better too, because I learned something about someone that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I guess the overlying statement is, hey, meet people right where they are. And it's not right? It's never been and some of my friends probably would say, man, come on. But I'm not the judge, right? When I'm playing basketball or even pickleball, like I talk trash and all that type of stuff, but I'm not the judge. So my job is to just meet people right where they are, be in proximity with them, and get to know them, and get to know their thoughts, get to know what they believe in, get to know what they don't believe in, get to know how they handle situations, and they do the same thing for me. And that dialogue and that conversation will just make us all better because we're around each other, and we have the, I guess, obligation to the other person to be educated and to be in a place that we can kind of connect with them.
Yeah, yeah. Which, if we took that, do you think if society applied those same principles as a whole, we would have a better society?
No doubt about it. Because you think when there's an argument, right? When me and my wife have a disagreement, the disagreement is because she wants one thing and I want something else, right? If you take things that are happening in our world today, there's a group of people that want one thing and there's another group of people that want something different, right? So even though I may want something totally different than my wife, or totally different than the white guy or the black guy or the Asian guy that lives in the same neighborhood that I live in, mm-hmm. Like, it's my opportunity, it's my job, I feel, as a citizen, right? As a Christian, as a God-fearing man, is to, hey, respect what they say, respect how they feel, and then educate each other on the opposite.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So, as you talk about educating and as you talk about opposites, it brings me to a place about kind of educating people about when you walk into a room or you leave out of a room, how is it that you want them to see you, or what you want them to think about you?
Wow, great question. When I walk into a room, I want people to see Ulrick. I want people to see a man that loves people, regardless of what they look like. Mm-hmm. I want them to know that by my actions, right? I talk to a lot of people, a lot of my close friends. I heard this concept of, instead of living a life in the noun, like N-O-U-N, we need to all live verb-oriented lives. So I want people to say, when I walk in, like, man, he really cares about me. He really cares about this cause. And I know he cares about it because he's actually doing something, not just talking about it. So I guess when I walk into a room, that's what I want people to see, right? I want people to see a man that loves God, that loves his family, that has his values in place, and nothing, right, will reprioritize those values. And at the end of the day, I want them to see someone who wants to serve people, wants to help people, wants to get to know people. Because life, as everybody probably knows, like, life is better when you do it with people, when you do it with someone else, right? If I remember, if you have a big case, like, it's better when you do it with somebody else. If you catch a touchdown pass, it's better when you do it with somebody else. We're having our third child. Like, it's better for my wife if we're together when all of these things are happening, right? When she's not feeling well, when her feet are swollen, right? It's better when we're at the beach together than if we're not. So the whole concept of, like, hey, doing things together is really, really important to me. And being able to serve people and just to meet them right where they are, right? Mm-hmm. They meet me where I am, I meet them right where they are, and we both learn and we both grow. And at the end of the day, we both make each other better, and we pass that on and make someone else better along the way as well.
Mm-hmm. What would you say? What would you say that we're lacking in leadership right now? And that could be home, that could be abroad, that could be anywhere. That wherever you're taking it is where we'll go.
I think what we're lacking in leadership is representation. And I mean representation of all of the different types of people in this world. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that you cannot have a world that is in one accord if the same people, the same types of people are making all the decisions, because they only see life through one lens. So to me, we're lacking representation. Representation from men, from women, from people that are Black, from people that are a lower socioeconomic class, Asian people, Indian people. We're just lacking. All of us are in this world together, right? But we're only living, for the most part, by rules and laws and leadership by one particular race and gender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's the consequence of that?
Well, I this is old football coach in me. Mickey Matthews. Mickey Matthews was my coach for 2 years at James Madison, and he actually was I worked with him for 12 years, right? And he had this saying, and this goes directly to what the question that you asked. You know, what's the consequence? He said 2 things happen in this world every day. He says, you as an individual, you get better or you get worse. Nothing stays the same. Right? So in my eyes, if things continue to stay the same, we're not getting any better. If you go back to the old football coach saying, things are getting worse. So to me, that's the consequence.
Yeah. Wow. You know, that's so true on so many levels, whether we're talking about the individual, whether we're talking about the family, the community, the world. You know, it's either, are we getting better? Are we getting worse? And what actions do we need to take to change the course of action that we're taking right now? Right. You mentioned that you guys are having your 3rd child. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's exciting. As a father, are your children male, female? What you got?
So we have 2 girls, and Nyla is 5. She's like 5 3/4. She would tell you that. And Halen is 3. She just turned 3 in May. And
that 3/4 is important.
Yes, it's important to her. And I'm betting that, my guess, we're not finding out the 3rd child until it come out. I'm betting it'll be another girl.
Okay. All right. So as a man of possibly 3 girls, but definitely 2, and as a father, what do you want them to take away from you as they begin to grow up and navigate the world?
I think it's a great question. I think it goes back to what my father instilled in me. And he said, Ulrick, you always have to be careful where you are. And he told me at a young age. He used to tell me every day before I went out. If I was like, hey, Dad, I'm riding my bike downtown. He's like, hey, Ulrick, be careful of your surroundings. And one of the things that Lindsay and I have tried to do is to expose our children outside of this bubble that they live in, right? Because the grass is green. They had a swimming pool. They have these things. They have friends that love them and want to play with them, and they have cupcakes every single day, right? So try to expose them to things that aren't all in this bubble. Mm-hmm. And a lot of me and my best friends have been talking about this, the conversations. Like one of my best friends has 3 boys, and he's like, hey, we talk to them about this bubble that they're in all the time now. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, I can't imagine talking to 3 boys about that. 3 boys that are, anywhere from the ages, I think, of 8 and 14, right? So they're really entering that stage of when they go away, they probably will just be another black guy. People won't know that their father is, an AD at a Power 5 university, and that their mother is successful, and that they live in a nice neighborhood, right? They probably won't know that. So the message, as me and Lindsay have really tried to establish to our daughters is that, hey, be aware of what's going on around you at all times. And regardless of how people may treat you, you're supposed to love them even more. And if you have people that are not treating people that you're around, your friends, the way that they're supposed to, the way that you were taught, stand up for them and say, hey, that's not the way that we treat our friends. That's not the way that we treat people. And although these things may be really, really small, if we teach our family to do that, and our next door neighbor teaches their family to do that, and everybody in the neighborhood teaches their family the same thing, 25, 30 years from now, we'll be in a better place, right? So we try to make sure our girls understand, hey, be aware of your surroundings, right? And treat people not only the way you want to be treated, but treat people better than you would expect them to treat you.
Wow. I've got to ask this question. You brought up that you're married to a white lady. I'm sure she's wonderful, a wonderful woman. Just hearing you, I know she's a wonderful woman. But I have to ask the question: have you guys faced injustice just because of being together?
If I would say no, we haven't, I probably wouldn't be given an accurate description. I'm sure there's some things that's been said. I'm sure there's some things that have been done that I'm not aware of, right? Some things that's been said to her that she's not aware of. But together as a unit, as a married couple, I think we're blessed to say that, hey, we haven't faced, right, any injustice because of who we were and who we chose to love. And I think it's a big part of us being both grounded in the Word of God and surround ourselves with positive people. And also, I think this is a truly, truly big part of it is us both being involved in sports, right? She's a college basketball coach. I was a college football coach. And in sports, like I said before, in sports, like you see people as people because you want to make sure that they're holding up their end of the bargain so you guys can be successful collectively as a team. So there's nothing in my mind that sticks out, right? Because of that. There are things that's been said, right? Like my wife has told me that, hey, one of her brother's friends said something and her brother was upset about it. And I said, hey, man, like, it's okay, right? Things like that happen, right? Should they happen? No, they shouldn't. But we're still okay. We're still in a good place. So we're not going to let that make us angry, right? I'm not going to be angry because of it. I'm just going to know that, like I said before, people feel a certain way. And it's not my job to be the judge. It's my job to love them. Even though I may not want to, it's just my job to love them and to make sure that when I have and if I have an opportunity for education and to get to know that person, that I do that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us today. This has been amazing, amazing conversation. And I'm so happy to have you on today. I am excited about your story. And wow. This is what the words that I have are wow. Just about how you talked about having support. It's important for everyone to have support, to have someone in their corner. That's very important. And as you talk about that, I can't help but go to mentorship or having mentorship in your life, because a lot of times, like you said, depending on the households, there may not be anyone there to support you. And you may not get it from school in the way that you think that you should get it from school, from those leaders that are there. And so mentorship, when you think about that word and you think about your life, have there been any influential mentors, actual mentors that kind of helped shape you and kind of helped you along the way as well? I know we talked about support, right? But
Yeah.
kind of in a mentorship role.
Yeah. Well, man, that list would be long, long, long. But just, just a few that just come to mind. I just, as a male, right, I think, my father, right, as a male, I think about my father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think about Pastor Ryan Brooks. Um, I think about Pastor Leonard Morton. I think about P. Larry in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Uh, I think about Kurt Newsom, right, who's a white male. I love him to death. Um, and I think about just several people that I just interact with. Um, I think of, I think mentors can come in all different shapes, all different forms, but I think a mentor, um, kind of guides you and kind of allows you to see more in yourself than you can even see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're talking about, just kind of what I'm doing now in financial planning and advising, two wonderful individuals, Lena Blaine and Delina Alexander. They're my mentors, right, in the business world, just because they're phenomenal people and they've taken, kind of what they see in me and they want to make something bigger than I could ever see for myself. A lot of coaches, right? Like you go back to Nottoway High School, in Pettis, right? He's, Cleve Pettis. It's so many. George Barlow, uh, great men, great men.
Yeah. Especially for Black males, particularly, and I can ask you this question because you're a Black male.
Right.
I'm not. I don't know if you noticed, I'm not. But especially for Black males, what is the importance of mentorship and how do you find mentors? Because I think that that's something that people hear all the time. You should have a mentor, you have a mentor. But the how to find a mentor, I think, is a key that we don't hear talked about as much.
Yes, that is it. And I was brought up like anything you want, you go get it, right? So you can see who people are and what they do, and if you want to know more about them, go ask them, right? Like, and maybe you don't have the knowledge, and maybe you don't have the courage to ask that person, but hey, find someone that knows that person to make that connection, because people love to help. Right? I hadn't ran into many people. There are some, but I hadn't ran into many people that say, "Yeah, I don't want to help you." Right? What type of person would do that? Right? There are some. Don't get me wrong, but just reaching out to those people, and just like when people reach out to me, I'm flattered and I'm humbled by it. So I can only imagine when I reach out to people, to be, mentors and to guide me and lead me in that way, that hey, they're flattered, right? I know I'm flattered, and I'm like, whoa, me as a mentor? Are you serious? Like, do you know who I am? Like, I can't mentor you, right? It's an everyday thing for me to make sure that hey, I'm doing what I need to do. Um, but just reaching out, right? That's where it all starts. Just communication, just reaching out, or putting yourself in a position where you're around maybe that person and people like that person that you want to be a mentor, that you want to mentor you, because it just doesn't happen, right? Like, it just doesn't happen. No one can read someone's mind to look at and be like, oh, I want this person to mentor. You have to make, like what we talked about, that verb oriented life, right? If you want it, go get it. Go initiate that conversation, so people will know, hey, this person would like to, you know, be a part of my circle and learn X, Y, or Z from me.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow. So now there's a thing that I do in every episode of The Voices of a Black Man, and it's called a kind of quick fire question section. Are you ready for this?
No.
How about now?
I'm ready. I'm ready now. I'm ready now.
Okay. Favorite food?
Lasagna with sausage, pepperonis, onions, green peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, mushrooms.
Wow. Okay. When's the first time you had that lasagna?
My mom and one of my best friends from back home, Bessie Stiff, she's passed away. Used to always fix it. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Oh, it's good.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I was in high school. Yeah, high school.
High school. So it brings back memories. That takes you home. It takes you to good memories.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Favorite ice cream?
Cookie dough. Cookie dough with chocolate chips in it and peanut butter cups.
Okay. All right. Chocolate chips and peanut butter cups.
Yeah, you could put any chocolate candy into that, and I like it. So just
and it's good.
throw chocolate candy into something that's already chocolate and sweet. I'm in there.
You're there.
I'm there.
All right. Favorite movie?
Remember the Titans.
What is it about that movie?
Teamwork, overcoming social injustices, overcoming things that are much bigger than the game of football, but the game of football teaching individuals within that movie that there is a greater good for us all to work together to accomplish one thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think football and some of the other sports taught you life?
I do. No doubt about it. I do. It's no question in my mind. The discipline you learn, and that discipline can be exercised at any level, right? You could use that discipline to make you really successful, or you could use that discipline to say, nah, that's too hard today. I don't want to do it. The perseverance, the hard work, and those lessons in sports are just, I mean, you can apply them to every aspect of your life. And that's why many former athletes are some of the most successful people in this world, because they understand, hey, what it takes to get something done. And they understand when someone tells them no, that doesn't mean no. That just means, hey, I got to work a little harder or not right now.
Gotcha. Favorite song?
Favorite song? This Little Light of Mine. I'm going to let it shine.
Okay. All right. What is it about that song?
It just brings me back to just the essence of our being, right? Like we all right? We all are lights, and we just have to let our light shine, regardless of where we are, regardless of what we're doing. We just have to be the best version of ourselves we can be each and every day, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember, when our daughters were young, like my wife gets on me all the time because I cannot sing, and I can't, like, even the little lullabies, I mess those all up. But with This Little Light of Mine, you can put in a beginning part of that, and you can roll with it, and it's a great song. But I really truly believe that that's kind of the essence of, hey, just letting your light shine wherever you are, whatever circumstance you're in, whatever situation you're facing. Just be the best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, last question for you. Favorite destination or vacation spot?
Right now, I would have to say Aruba. Yeah.
Why Aruba?
White sand, blue water, and we went there on our honeymoon. We went to our honeymoon a year after we got married, and the food was great, the people were great, and it just was so relaxing. White water, blue water, white sand. I mean, it's unbelievable. Love the place. Mm-hmm. Love the culture, and love everything about that time that we had there.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Thank you. That was quick fire, you know, and I do quick fire because I believe that if we meet each other at the human level first, we can find more commonalities than we can differences. And a lot of times we don't take the time to find out little things like that that may connect us with
Right.
someone else, right? And
Yeah.
so it gives us another peek inside of you and inside of who you are by doing that small little quick fire. Now, we're come to the end, and I can't believe we're already at the end. And I really have had a good time talking to you. I want to give you the platform. I want to give you a chance to kind of say any last thoughts that you may have, whether it's to an individual, a community, or to the world as a whole. This time is totally yours. And I'm going to be quiet now and give you the floor.
Um, I just like to close by saying thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to reach out to me. Thank you for the courage to put this platform together for many men that are Black to share their story. I mean, you're talking about this is amazing, right? I guess as a closing thought, and it's probably going to be something that I have already said, but I think it's just really, really important to me, is that we all have to get out of the living life in the now, right? I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a financial advisor, I'm a football coach. You know, I own a business. And to get more in a position where we can live the verb-oriented life, where we're actually doing something to be a better mother, a better father, a better person, a better leader, a better influencer. Like the things that we're doing will propel us to accomplish far greater things than we ever would have if we just say, I am this person and I do nothing. So live life in the verb. And if you're out there and you see me not living life in the verb, call me out and challenge me. Because I want to be on the move and on mission to do great things and to serve people and to make every encounter I have one of the best encounters that people have in this lifetime.
Live life in the verb. That sounds like a challenge to me, to everyone who's viewing. That sounds like a challenge to me, to live life in the verb. Ulrick, thank you so much for sharing your story through your lens. I know that it will help a lot of people to see life through your lens rather than through their lens, to be able to understand some things that maybe they didn't before, and hopefully live life in the verb. To the viewers, I want to say thank you so much for viewing today, The Voices of a Black Man, where we talk to Ulrick Edmonds, his story through his lens. Now, you know I say this every time. You've listened. Now it's up to you to do your part. What biases were brought up for you today? What actions did you hear that are doable and that you can take today? You know, I believe exactly what Ulrick said. We all have to live our life in the verb, not the noun. And in doing so, we can meet each other at the human level, find commonalities instead of differences, and be able to take actions together. My name is CK James, and this has been The Voices of a Black Man. I hope you tune in tomorrow, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, for our next guest speaker. Take care. Have a wonderful day.